Hi, and welcome to a very special episode of Autism Talk TV. I'm Alex Plank.
I'm Jack Robison.
And I'm Kirsten Linsmith.
Today we're talking about a new book that comes out on March 22nd called Be Different by John Robison. And I have to say that this is a book that's just amazing. It includes practical advice for not only Aspergians, misfits, and families, but also teachers.
It has a very, very good cover as well.
Yes.
Which was photographed by our very own Alex Plank here.
Yes, we John and I took a picture of his trains, and that is actually the picture that is used on the cover here. So let's start off talking about what this book is really about. It's broken into 5 parts, and I think Kirsten's going to read you the table of contents.
Okay, so there's 5 sections that within each section there are relevant short stories that John's written about his life of growing up with autism and kind of how he feels about these different aspects of autistic behavior. And part 1 is rituals, manners, and quirks. So weird things that people on the spectrum will do that seem strange and unusual to other people or
stimming,
people who don't understand
instance.
them. Yeah, stimming, perhaps not being able to talk with the right intonation, doing weird the rituals of say if to be able to put on your pants you have to put on your socks first or else it just doesn't feel right, like things like that. He has several short stories that he addresses those kind of things. Part 2 is about emotions and about he has.
And I want to put this out there. People with Asperger's have emotions, and that is covered in the book. It's just that we don't express them completely well.
Appropriately.
Yeah.
Part 2 deals with emotions, such as reading the emotions of others and being able to respond appropriately, which is a huge problem with autism, such that you won't necessarily know whether someone is being sarcastic or serious, or whether somebody is laughing with you or at you, that sort of thing. And also making and keeping friends, emotional triggers. He has a few different stories about these kind of things. And also the plus side of this, which he says about, he calls it keeping cool in a crisis, of where when bad things happen that usually could elicit an emotional response from somebody, that he says he's able to control that part of him and kind of get the job done no matter what emotionally turbulent things are happening.
Now I have to say that you may think that this book is just full of good things about Asperger's, but it includes the struggles that we face as well, and I think that's a very important part.
Or rather, most of the book is about the struggles, but not just the struggles. There are also a few notes about the positive aspects of autism.
And there are quite a few positives. For instance,
we're really cool. So part 3 is about getting along with others and kind of the social aspect of autism, which is basically the most famous and what autism's known for. And he addresses how people with autism tend to be sort of inherently self-centered, not in selfish, but that it's hard to recognize the kind of emotional needs of other people and kind of taking that into account with making decisions, being able to carry on a normal conversation with talking in the right place, not just carrying on forever without letting the other person participate. He has a good section about dealing with bullies and advice on if you're getting bullied in school, what you can do about that, and who you can go to for help, that sort of thing.
And bullying is a big problem for people on the spectrum. I was bullied as a child, and it was a hard thing for me. But I think that now we have way more resources, especially books like this, and audiobooks if you are illiterate and cannot read. Or if you want to...
Maybe if you just can't read yet.
Yeah,
perhaps
sometimes...
Perhaps if you're...
And perhaps maybe if you look at the book while you're listening to the audiobook, you might learn to read just from his book. So in a way, this teaches you English.
This is a multi-purpose teaching tool. Yeah. There is a lot of good advice of dealing with bullies and dealing with people who are giving you a hard time, people who might not necessarily even realize that anything's wrong or realize that they are giving you a hard time, and that showing how to kind of express that and tell people what's going on, that sort of thing. Part 4 addresses sensory issues that people with autism often have, such as he has a long part that I definitely identify with, of the clothing labels digging at you all day, and I don't think I have any pairs of any. I don't think I have any clothing whatsoever that still has a tag in it. The last part is about finding your gifts, which is about kind of the positive sides of autism, and that everybody with autism tends to have things that they're really good at that other people might not necessarily look into or have the same understanding of. And so, for example, John talks about his experience with electronics and that sort of thing. And then, for example, there are savant artists, people who are really good with numbers, people who are good with music, all these kinds of things that tend to be overlooked and when everybody just focuses on the disabilities that come with autism, and that it's important to look at the positive things that come out of this.
And there are quite a few examples in here of what to do in a tight situation. Another great thing about the book is that there's an appendix for parents, teachers, and others of their ilk. And in this appendix, it has great resources outside of the book. So you can find not only the definition of Asperger's from the official source. Actually, it's not official. John wrote it, but I think that does
pretty
count.
Official.
Yeah, that counts as official. They have a test page, and there is an index to Aspergian behaviors. And for further study, there is resources and great movies that you can watch.
And also another good thing about the book is that it's full of these little blurbs that are highlighted and made large so that if you're just flipping through and you want to read some of the key points and the advice, that you don't have to really read the whole thing. You can kind of skim through and look for the, like, my expression was backward for the situation, but I was powerless to change it.
Those are called call-outs. I have to say that this has been a great episode of Autism Talk TV, and we will see you next time.
So, be different.
Yeah.
Yay.
Good job. I'd say that was a good episode. What do you think, Kirsten?
I mean, hopefully we're going to be able to edit down everything into a...
What was your favorite part of the book?
The book? Let's see. Trying to think. I think his description of the clothing tag thing. I still thought that was very funny, mostly because that's probably the part that I identified with most.
What was your favorite part of the book, Jack? The beginning where it says dedicated to my son, Jack Robison,
right,
the very
right.
embodiment of being different.
Cubby, you know, and...
That's
oh,
right.
yeah.
And by the way, Jack's name is not really Cubby. You don't call him Cubby.
Well, you
No,
can.
but in the book they talk about the naming thing that he does because...
Yeah, there is that is another good part. He explains why Jack is called Cubby.
That's right.
And all that fun stuff.
Did he explain that in his first book as well?
Yep.
I think so.
Have you read his first book yet?
Yeah.
It was a good book. It's called Look Me in the Eye, My Life with Asperger's Syndrome. It's funny because a lot of people think the name of the book is Don't Look Me in the Eye.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're mistaken.
I know, they are. Oh man, this has been a fun day for Autism Talk TV. I will be traveling to California very soon, so we are going to have to do a satellite version of Autism Talk TV, like on CNN, where you have roving reporters from the trenches. And I think Jack will be in the trenches, and I'll be out in Los Angeles sitting under a palm tree.